In the face of potentially wider Western sanctions on Russian interests, the Russian government has offered state guarantees worth up to $3 billion for 199 companies. I'm joined by Paul Whitfield, correspondent for The Deal. Paul, tell us, what do we know about these guarantees?
Hi, Brittany. We know that there's 199 companies that have been guaranteed. We know the names of the companies, that's big oil producers and gas producers like Gazprom, Lukoil, Rosneft, miners, Norris Nickel is in there, and telecom companies, retailers, 199 companies. It's quite a wide list, obviously. We know that what they're actually offering is to guarantee debts of these companies. This is an effort to essentially reassure the market that if the companies struggle, as the ruble has dipped, as the economic activity slows, and in the face of potentially further sanctions, that the debt will be underwritten by the state.
So the goal is to reassure the market, but how reassuring are these guarantees going to be for lenders?
Well, $3 billion US, 200 billion rubles is a fair whack of money, but it's not an awful lot given the amount of debt that a lot of these companies have. I mean, if you take Rosneft alone, it's got 60 million in gross debt. It's got about 60 billion in gross debt. It's got about 20 billion in cash, leaving it with about 40 billion of debt alone. That's one company, 7 billion of which is due this week. And 20 billion, which is due before the end of the year. I noted the Moody's a little while ago in a note said that Russian companies had about 112 billion of debt altogether. Most of that was due over the next 4 years at least, and an awful lot of that was due this year. It's a guarantee. It's not a guarantee that covers Russian companies' debts.
So how do you see this playing out? Is there any sign of an end to the sanctions?
Well, look, we were going to get a new list of sanctions by the EU today, prior to Merkel and Hollande, the head of the German government and the head of the French government, meeting with Putin. Sorry, that was an almost French Putin. On the weekend, there's another meeting scheduled for later on this week, and so the EU has actually stalled adding these names to the list, as far as we understand, as of today. Russian companies are under a lot of pressure. I mean, they've got no access to Western debt. A lot of their debt is in dollars, so they can't roll it over at this stage. If there isn't an end to these sanctions in the medium term, in the near to medium term, then this is going to get worse before it's going to get better. It's in everyone's interest to end this, terrible crisis either way, and it's increasingly in Russian companies' interests.
All right, thank you so much, Paul Whitfield, correspondent for The Deal.
You're welcome, Brittany.
And I'm Brittany Umar for The Street.